What happens when a popular rock radio DJ retires, sells everything, and with his wife takes off in an RV to see America? Ho, ho, ho! It's the Rockin' the RV Life podcast with Jeff and Patty. Join them each week as they share their experiences while giving you advice and tips along the way.
You know, when you're on the road and you're living in your RV and you're traveling across America, there's going to be a few mistakes. We're human, right?
Uh-huh.
We all make mistakes.
Right.
Well, we made a heck of a big mistake.
Do we really have to talk about this?
That's coming up later.
Oh, no.
You know, we've been exploring the Pacific Northwest in our RV, the coasts of Washington, Oregon, and California. They're all very stunning to see.
Oh, they are. Even if you don't have an RV, you've got to put this on your bucket list because you could rent a car or motorcycles and go down the coast. It's beautiful. There's plenty of places to stay and things to do and things to see.
You will not be disappointed.
Mm-mm.
The hiking is awesome. By the way, if you like the hike, there's a trail between Eugene and Bend, Oregon. It's called the Dynamo Hum Trail. That was a famous song by the famous Frank Zappa, and they named that trail after that song.
Wasn't that song from like 1973 or something?
Yeah, it was from 1973.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know what goes on that trail, but if it's anything like the song, you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, as we're heading south on Highway 101 in Oregon, we're approaching the California state line. Okay, what's the big deal? Well, before we cross into California, we stopped in Brookings, Oregon to fill up with gasoline. Let me tell you why. When your RV has an 80-gallon tank, saving money on gasoline really helps that bottom line. Gasoline in Oregon, it was at least $3.30 a gallon. Sometimes we saw it for like $3.69. And believe me, we're not happy about that at all. But in California, gasoline was just under $5 a gallon. Ouch.
Yeah. So we continued down 101 through Crescent City and Klamath.
Yeah, beautiful areas.
Oh, it was. The scenery was awesome. We were near the Redwoods National and State Park.
And as we're going through Oric, and I'm not talking about the vacuum cleaner, I'm talking about a little teeny town in California, we suddenly spot a herd of elk. And they're near the road, just kind of wandering through the town. There's no traffic, so we were able to stop, get out, and get some really nice pictures. Now, we were really excited because we hadn't seen any moose. The only bears we saw were in a sanctuary. We didn't see Bigfoot, and suddenly we see a herd of elk. It's like, stop the RV, quick.
Oh my gosh, there were so many of them. That was so cool.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
So we were able to get great pictures. After that, we stopped just north of Trinidad, California, at an RV park called the Elk Country Campground.
Mm-hmm. Now, that was really nice. It was very rustic in the mountains. It's been there for years.
That's my kind of camping.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the lady that checked us in, she said, keep an eye out for the herds of elk. And she also said, keep your distance because these animals are larger than regular deer and they are not tame. And it's mating season.
Hey, I don't want to get in anyone's way when it's mating season.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are right. We couldn't believe the amount of elk that would either walk through the camp or around the perimeter, including huge bucks. I have some unbelievable pictures of these bucks.
Oh, yeah.
And they also make this amazing noise when they're chasing after the does.
Yeah.
So it was such a neat place. We ended up spending 2 nights there.
Oh, yeah. That area was pretty mountainous, and it was all part of Humboldt County.
Ooh, yeah.
Now, I don't know if you've ever heard of Humboldt County. It's really fertile, and it's where the giant redwoods grow, and for many years, that county is famous for growing marijuana.
That's right. The California cash crop, which a lot of it is legalized now, and you have to have a special license in order to grow it. If you don't, you can really face a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
But there's a documentary on Netflix that we watched. It's called Murder Mountain. It's about how the marijuana growers started their farms in the area around Alter Point, California. This was decades ago. And that place is just east of where we were, so it was really interesting watching this. And there's something else about Murder Mountain. A lot of people have disappeared.
Yeah.
So Jeff's number one rule, where there's money, there's corruption.
Yep.
It was really tough to leave that campground, but we headed south to Garberville, California, and we stayed in an RV park on the southern side of Garberville. It was a KOA, and let me tell you, I'm not going to mince words, the worst campground I have ever seen or stayed in. We drove in, Patty goes into the office, they have a spot assigned for us. We go to that spot with the RV, and before we can even back it in, Patty is outside, and she's got a walkie-talkie to help guide me in, and she goes, well, hold on a second. She says, there's like toilet paper all over the place here. She says, it's like somebody spilled their black tank, and that's the sewage tank on an RV. So I got out, took one look at it, and said, whoa, no way, this is totally unsanitary. We're not going to be here at all. So Patty got in the car. You went over to the office.
I went back to the office, and I said, that site is very dirty. I need another site. And he gave me another site.
So we moved over to that site, pull in,
Oh, gosh.
and this time there's literally human waste all around the sewer connection.
There was actually poop there.
It was disgusting.
It was awful.
Now, part of the reason for this is because their sewer connections stick out of the ground about 8 to 10 inches tall. They're supposed to be flush with the ground, so you connect a sewer hose from your RV to that connection, and gravity does its job. Well, it doesn't do it when it's a foot off the ground. Needless to say, a lot of people spill their black tanks in that park, and nobody cleans it up, nobody sanitizes it.
Yeah.
And I was furious. I went back to the office, walk in, and I said, where's the manager? He comes out, and I told him, I said, I have never seen such a mess in a campground as I see here.
Well, I took pictures, and I showed him the pictures.
Right. And I told him, you could get in so much trouble in this state. All I have to do is call the health department, and they would shut you down. Well, needless to say, he was very nice to us, gave us a clean spot. They comped us most of the price that night.
Right.
And we stayed there that one night.
One night.
One night.
Yeah.
No more than that.
Right.
But I was stunned at how bad that place was.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Well, to make matters better, we decided to jump in the Jeep, take off the tops, and go for a cruise on the Avenue of the Giants.
On our way to Garberville, as we were going down 101, we saw the signs for Avenue of the Giants. Now, this is a road that runs parallel with 101. It's a pretty long road.
Yeah, it's miles and miles of just big, huge redwood trees.
Right.
The sights are fantastic.
Yeah, you could see it from the freeway. You can see it looks like a forest.
Right.
So you're driving through this forest, but these trees are humongous.
Oh, it just blows your mind.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
So we have the tops off on the Jeep, and we're just thoroughly enjoying this. And we come to a little tourist attraction. You could actually drive through a redwood tree. These guys had this thing set up where it was on their property. And
yeah, it was called Shrine Drive-Through Tree.
Yeah.
We saw the sign, and I said, well, we got to go check this out.
And it's not like they cut a hole in the tree. It was kind of a natural hole in the tree. So we paid, what, $10?
Yeah.
Drove the Jeep through that. We had to put the mirrors in. It was really tight.
It was tight.
And, we're driving through this thing real slow, and there's some lady on the other side. She says, hey, you want me to take your picture? And we were like, yeah, sure,
Yeah, so we're sitting in our seats, and she's going to take our picture, and she said, you know what, why don't you just stand up?
Stand up in the Jeep.
Stand up through the roof.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay.
That makes sense. We don't have the roof on,
Yeah, right.
We got a really cool picture.
Yeah, so we stood on the seats, and she got a great picture.
Yeah, it was. We almost ran out of gas, too.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
There's no gas stations around there, so you got to be really careful. Make sure you drive around in places that are unfamiliar with you. Make sure you have a full tank of gas.
He gets on this road. Well, he's got hardly any gas in the Jeep. And it's like, what are you doing? Why didn't you get gas before that?
I told her, I said, just look on your phone, find us a gas station, we'll load up,
There was no gas
There's
stations
no gas
around
station.
for miles and
Like,
miles. It's
oh
like,
my
oh,
God.
no.
First the poopy camp and now running out of gas.
But we didn't run out of gas.
No,
thank
we
goodness.
stopped at a fire station.
We did. We saw a fireman outside, and we asked him, hey, where's the nearest place to get gas?
He goes down the freeway about 20 miles.
Yeah.
And Patty goes, you think we'll make it?
Oh.
I said, if we pray to God, we made it.
Somehow we made it.
Yeah, we did.
But it was fun.
So we left Garberville and headed to Cloverdale.
Oh, yes, Cloverdale.
We were going to stay on the Russian River. It's kind of a famous place. It's a Thousand Trails Park. We're going to spend 2 nights there and then head down to San Francisco.
Right.
That was our plan.
Right.
Guess what? It didn't go well.
We really have to talk about this.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no.
We haven't told anybody about this. We haven't posted anything on social media because we were so darned embarrassed that we made such
a stupid mistake.
Huge mistake.
It was both of our faults.
Yes, it was. When you're traveling in an RV, it's a big vehicle. You're towing a car. We actually have a checklist of everything we do so that we don't forget anything, because there's a lot to this, and you have to be safe. You have to be patient. You can't rush things. Unfortunately, we didn't pay attention to our rules that day.
No, we did not.
We got to the park. We were pretty excited. There was nobody in the guardhouse.
No, there was a guardhouse with a gate. So there was a note on the guardhouse. I got out and I saw the note and they said, call this phone number. And I called and they gave me the information to get in, to open up the gate. So, okay, great. Now, this campground is on the side of a mountain. So when you pull in the gate, you go down a hill. And this is the type of campground where you go in there and you find your own spot.
Right.
So it's not like they assign you a spot.
So Patty gets the code to the gate. And this has taken a while. The gate goes up.
Yeah, I opened the gate.
And she comes running back to the RV, opens the door, gets in.
And I said, go.
Go, hurry up before the gate comes down. So I stepped on it. If you remember from the second episode, there's something that's going to always get your attention. It's a question or a phrase called, "What's that noise?" Boom! We hear a big, loud noise. I knew immediately we had hit something, but I didn't know what.
Yeah, we didn't know what. It came from the side. It was like right at the side when I closed the door. So I said, just keep going. When we get down to the bottom of the hill, we'll get out and find out what happened.
I was like, oh my God. We pull over, stop. We open the door, and the steps were all bent and broken. What happened? We hit something with the steps because when Patty got in the RV and said, go, 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 I stepped on it and didn't allow time for the steps to retract.
In a normal situation, that would be fine. But the problem here was that right where the steps opened up and they touched the curb was broken right in front of it. So it was sticking out about 6 inches.
Right.
So as soon as he went, and normally the steps would just come in, and you just go, and there's nothing in front of him. But because that curb was broken and sticking out, which we did not know, we couldn't see it. Well, I didn't see it when I got in.
It caused the step to slam into that part of the curb that was jetted out, and it
bent it. I mean, that's heavy steel.
It sure is.
And it bent the steps.
This is a cement curb. It's a big cement curb.
And it bent, yeah. And so when it bent the steps,
it literally pushed the steps back into the fiberglass body of the RV and did body damage as well. Believe it or not, the steps still vaguely worked. But there was really no way we could drive the RV with the steps in that condition.
Yeah, because they wouldn't go back in. They would only go halfway in. There was no way we could drive it like that.
So we, in a matter of seconds, had just blown everything and made a stupid mistake. We blame both of ourselves.
We do.
Because we were impatient and didn't take the time to do it right, and it cost us.
Yeah.
We got to our campsite, we set up our camp, and we were both sick about the damage to the RV.
Just horrible. It was just awful.
So I decided I would call maybe a mobile service that could come out and fix it and get some estimates as to what the damage was going to be. Patty went to the office and told them that we may have to be here longer than 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
And they said it was okay.
Yeah, they said that was fine.
So I started calling some mobile services. And there were a couple of them that said, nah, I don't do that kind of work. I just fix easy things. But I did find somebody. And he said, yeah, he was skilled with that. He knew exactly what to do and everything. And he said, well, first off, we have to survey the damage and find out exactly what's going on underneath the RV. Did the frame get bent? I had already been underneath the RV, and I assured him that, no, the frame was not bent. All we have to do is take off the steps, put the new ones on, and I'm going to need some body work. He said he didn't do the body work, but he could do the steps. And I said, great. I said, get me a price and call me back. He calls me back. He says, okay, here's how it works. The steps are going to be $1,750. That's $1,750. And then there's $150 for me to just come out, and then the rest is labor to put them on. And he says, if we run into any difficulty, it'll be more. So it's going to be about $2,600. I hung up the phone and got sick again. But this time I got on the internet, and I thought, okay, I'm going to find the replacement parts myself. Maybe I can fix this myself, because I'd been back under, and I was looking at the machinery underneath and how it was mounted and the electrical connections. It was all pretty basic stuff, but I knew that they were also very, very heavy. I found the steps, the exact steps that I needed. They were $1,100. And I thought, whoa, I'd save a lot of money if I did this myself.
And you can order it online, so
we thought, wow, let's order them online and have them delivered here.
Yeah.
And Patty said, well, I better go up to the office and ask if we can have mail delivered here, if they do that, because some parks don't.
So I went to the office, and I talked to them again, and I said, okay, I need a package delivered. And they said, oh, yeah, no problem. I said, now it's going to weigh about 80 pounds. And they said, oh, well, no, that's too much. We can't take that because it's going to come into the gatehouse, and there's only one person in there, and they can't be holding that or carrying that. And I said, well,
we have an issue.
We have a little bit of an issue. And I explained to her what we did.
Oh, it was really hilarious.
Oh, my God, it was awful.
But she agreed then.
Yeah, I said, oh my gosh, we have to order these steps. I can't believe we just did this. We just ruined our steps, and we need to get this. And she said, okay, that's no problem. I said, we'll be right up there. We'll watch the tracking. We'll be right at the gatehouse when they deliver it. Nobody will even have to touch it. We can just put it right in our car. She says, okay, great, no problem.
They were good about it.
She said, oh, by the way, there's somebody in the park here that does repair. Here's his card.
There was a guy by the name of Alan O'Neill, and he's got a little company. He's in business for himself. He calls himself Happy Camper RV Repair. And you know what? I called him. He was fantastic.
Oh, he was great.
He said, I've done this before. He says, this is pretty common. And I'm thinking, well, great. I'm not the most stupid person then.
Yeah, that wasn't the only one he's done. Can you believe that?
He was skilled with that. And he said, look, he says, I'll do it for $175 if you help me. He says, it's a two-man job. I said, great. He said, go ahead, order the steps. How long will it take? I said, well, I'm hearing it's going to take 5 or 6 days to get here. He says, no problem. I'm here for you. Great guy. So we waited the 5 or 6 days. We actually turned, 2 nights that we were supposed to spend here into how long?
3 weeks.
3 weeks we spent there.
But there was a reason for that, too.
There was a good reason for that. Well, to get our minds off of everything, we decided we were going to go to the grocery store, and there was a good grocery store in Santa Rosa about a half hour away. We get in the car, we head down the freeway, and Patty looks out the window and she goes, we just passed the Francis Ford Coppola Winery. And we went by this town called Heldsburg, and she goes, we just passed the Kendall Jackson Winery.
Yeah.
We had no idea where we were, but we were in the middle of wine country.
We had no idea. And then,
in California.
Right. And then looking around, it's like, oh my gosh, there's grapevines growing everywhere.
Oh my God. As far as you could see, grapevines.
Yeah.
And this isn't Napa. This is Heldsburg. This is where the Zinfandels come from.
The Russian River wines.
Yep. The Alexander Valley. We later found out this is a famous place for wineries.
Yeah.
Well, needless to say, that helped cushion the blow.
Yes.
So how many wineries did we go to?
Well, we went to 7 wineries.
7 wineries.
We could have done more, but we just kind of spaced it out a bit.
Now, I will tell you this. it can get pricey at the wineries, and you can barely get into tastings because they're all booked up.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what these people do for a living, but there's so many people who come up to wine country during the week
yes.
and go to all the tastings. But we were able to get into some of them, and they were fantastic.
There was a couple of them. We could not get into Sonoma-Cutrer at all.
No, and that's a highbrow winery. But we were able to get in the Jordan wines, which is really fantastic.
Man, that was quite a
visit. That was an unbelievable
wine
winery.
tasting. Oh, my goodness.
Sapphire Hill was our favorite.
Yes.
And these people who run Sapphire Hill, Lisa and her husband, are actually friends of our friends Jim and Melinda Mantell. So they made a phone call. We went there. Oh, my gosh, they treated us so well.
Oh, my gosh. She would make food to go with the wine. And it was appetizers, salads, entrees, dessert. They were small, but they would have a wine with it. The food was just delicious.
Perfectly paired.
Oh, that was our favorite.
It was.
That was our most favorite.
And you're outdoors, and it's just a gorgeous scenery. It really is. Francis Ford Coppola's winery was fantastic.
Yes. We had dinner there.
Lots of memorabilia.
After our wine tasting.
We were on the veranda.
Yes.
And overlooking the vineyards.
Overlooking the grape vineyard. Oh,
that was
yes.
incredible.
That was.
The dinner there was fantastic.
It was delicious.
And another one was Sagaccio wines, and they're famous for Zinfandels. They served us a wine called Venom.
Oh, yes.
And we were just thrilled with it. It was a really great wine. And I asked him, I said, why did they name it Venom? He said, well, the reason for that is because the vineyards right here in the Alexander Valley, where they get the grapes from, are filled with a lot of rattlesnakes, at least that particular one. So we call it Venom. And here's Patty and I. Oh, we love walking through the vineyards. Rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
What? That was last time we walked through a vineyard.
Yeah.
Another great winery was the one that had burned down.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of problems with fires in that region.
Yeah.
Because it gets really dry. And there was a wildfire years ago.
It was in October of 2019. They called it the Kincaid Fire because it started on John Kincaid Road. And that was up and over a mountain, a little ways away from there, but the wind blew this fire far enough over that it caught the Soda Rock Winery on fire.
Yeah, burned
now,
down.
this was a historic, absolutely beautiful
Goes back to
place.
the 1800s.
Just magnificent.
Yeah.
The stone building. The stone is still up, but it's all burned out.
Right.
But they have their wine tastings in the barn. The barn survived the fire somehow.
The barn is magnificent. So we had all our samples of wine there.
And that was only wine, no food.
Right. But it was really a lot of fun being in that wine country area near Healdsburg, California. And you literally can go there. You could stay in San Francisco or Santa Rosa and, visit all the wineries. There's plenty of places to stay, and a lot of people do that. It's really a fun trip.
Well, we ended up buying 21 bottles.
Oh, God.
Let me tell you, that blew our budget between the steps and the wine.
We
my gosh.
We were way ahead by getting the steps fixed, by doing it ourselves. We end up spending it on wine.
We did.
What was it, about $800?
It was over $800.
Oh, my gosh.
The only good thing, though, was that the campground we were staying at were members of, and it was free. So it didn't cost us anything for the 3 weeks.
Right.
But here's another thing about the campground. This campground was only water hookup and electric hookup.
Right.
There was no sewer hookup. So every couple days, 2 or 3 days, we had to
unhook the water, unhook the electric, put the slides in, put everything away inside and outside, and move the RV to the dump station.
Yeah.
Dump the sewer tank, rinse it out there, and then bring it back.
And dump our gray water tank, which was our showers.
Right.
But we ended up not using the shower. We ended up using the campground shower.
So that
to
we didn't
save
have
on
to
that.
go every other day.
Yeah. So I think we stretched it out maybe 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, we did.
We were able to stretch it out for a while
We
there.
were very thrifty with water.
We were.
And our wastewater.
Yes.
We did a good job there.
Yeah.
And the camp showers weren't too bad. We would go first thing in the morning before anybody else would, and they were
Yeah.
all clean. So
Yeah.
it worked out pretty good.
Yeah. But the one thing that was really nice is you can choose your site there. Now, when we first came in, we kind of picked a site that was just okay. As the week goes on, and especially on Sunday, a lot of people move out because, people are just there for weekends.
Right.
So Sunday afternoon, I said, Jeff, look at the spot that's available. It was number one, and number one was fantastic. It was private.
It
wasn't real private, but it was just kind of we had space around us.
Yeah,
it was
we really
very
did.
Nice.
And it was such a nice place to stay, despite the fact that you had to go up to the dump station every few days. We stayed there 3 weeks.
We did. And the thing is, at that number one spot, we could see the dump station.
It was so romantic.
So we knew if there was a line there, because you don't want to go when there's a line there. You want to be able to just go right up and do your business and
get rid of it.
Go back, and get back to your site and hook up again,
Right. But it was a great place to stay.
It was a very nice campground.
And the people
loved it.
were really nice. Alan was fantastic, helping us out with the steps. And we decided to not file an insurance claim because it would have raised our rates. And
well, our deductible was $1,000.
Right, so it was a wash. And then, of course, we spent all the money on wine.
Yeah.
Jeez. But that is our adventure, and we're giving it to you straight. No doubt about it. And is that the only mistake we made? No. We have another one. It's not as bad, but it's funny as heck. And you don't want to miss hearing about it.
No, I don't want to talk about that one either.
That will be coming up.
It's the Rockin' the RV Life podcast with Jeff and Patty. Hear more of their adventures on the road with our next episode. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and tell your friends.